To do is basically ask you to kind of walk us through your resume. Right?
Okay.
So if you can just give us a description of walk us through your resume.
Okay, so hello, my name is Ali. I'm a recent graduate from UIT. I graduated January of this year, and I'm looking for full-time employment in the IT field. So yeah, an IT consultant or security consultant would be amazing. So I have some experience with CCNA and CCNP networking. I don't have the certificate, but I have training. That's what I was trained in my school. My major was networking and IT security. Yeah, so as you can see, these are some of my skills. In school we did Python, Python programming for like 3 years, and C++ for the first year. And I have security analysis, so I took a security analysis course, which we were introduced to pen testing. So I've done my first pen test report.
Okay.
It was a university level pen test report. Like it's not a real pen test report. We just pen tested our lab environment.
Right.
So like a mock pen test. So just for experience. And yep, I have skills in just web development. We just took a web development course, so I know how to code the website, and I have SQL experience too, so like a database. I have experience with the cloud, so VMware is what we did in class, and OpenStack is another sort of hypervisor type thing that we also did in class. So I have experience with that, and yeah, and a lot of other small stuff. But yeah.
So yeah, lots of wide variety of things here. What would you say was like the biggest or the most interesting course that you took?
The biggest, most interesting one, I would say, was the pen test one. Well, it was really challenging. It was extremely hard, especially the web part, the web hacking part. It was really tough. And
So in most big projects that we do in life, we come across a difficulty, a problem, right? Either I can't find the resources that I need to do the job. This is like really complicated. I'm with a team of people, and maybe someone else on my team isn't pulling their weight and isn't doing the part that they're supposed to do. Could you please walk us through a problem that you had in your pen test project and what you actually did to address the problem, how you fixed it, what actions you took, and how you got things back on track again?
So in a pen test report, we had like a month to finish it. First, we just did a lab, a 3-hour lab every single day, just to understand like passive recon, active recon, web hacking, and networking, network exploitation and stuff. And we were taught just how to make the report, and then last month we had to actually make the report. So 1 month isn't really enough time to. Yeah, it's really enough time to just look at the entire lab environment and just document everything. So there were still 4 of us, but it still took a lot of time. We were afraid that we weren't going to complete the project in time. So I went to the prof. Like I took an initiative. I went to the prof, say, hey, there are some things we are missing in the pen test report. Like we were supposed to document 2 vulnerabilities, let's say in the web, and 2 vulnerabilities in networking, and 2 vulnerabilities, all sorts of everything, right? So we didn't get 3 for everything. We didn't get 3 for everything. We got like 2. So because the third one was really challenging, right? And it was challenging on purpose. He really wanted us to learn. He wanted to simulate the real world environment. That's what I was trying to. And then he said that this is fine. It was supposed to be hard. You weren't supposed to get all of them. You weren't supposed to get it absolute perfect. But you just had to show me what you can do in the time that you had. So it's fine. Just do it. Just keep it up. Even if you have to pull all nighters, just do it. Just do the best you can, and I'll grade you in what you have. So that's what we did. We just pulled all nighters. We didn't complete it 100%. We didn't get everything, of course, but we were proud of what we did get. So.
Excellent.
And was this pen testing course, was it an elective course or?
No, it was a core course.
It was a mandatory course?
It was a mandatory course.
Okay. So just to get to know, so, you like cybersecurity, you like the cybersecurity field. What are some of the things that interest you about it, but the pen testing course? And sure, go ahead.
What really interested me was how big it is. Pen testing is huge, especially web pen testing. There's just so many ways to you need to look out for. And many people who are making websites right now, they're not really trained in the security aspect of things. That's what really was eye-opening for me.
Okay. And yeah, that's absolutely true. It's a very broad spectrum of things. Pen testing could be web app, could be a single hard drive.
Right.
So it's very important that within our field we stay updated and aware all the time. So what are some of the channels that you have available to yourself that you're informed always about the news and what's going on in the cyber world?
There's one resource called Hack the Box. I believe it was hackthebox.eu. It's a website. It helps you with basically pen testing or just hacking through this device.
Right.
And it's really
So that's more so like capture the flag
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
things, right? But what about industry news? What's going on?
Sometimes I listen to the security podcast, the Security Weekly podcast. Sometimes I listen to that, and sometimes I follow the hacker blog.
Yeah.
So those two things.
Okay.
I use to
And
keep up.
so I tend to get a bit technical at times with the resume. So you mentioned AES, RSA, wrappers, key management, right?
Yeah.
So what exactly have you done in AES and RSA? Let's
RSA
do the difference first, and let's see what you have exactly done with the algorithms.
So RSA was basically our cryptography. This was basically on the subject I had, cryptography.
Right.
Our project was to code some sort of cryptography, just use the Python cryptography libraries and just
Which library?
Which library? There was RSA. There was key wrapping, like a wrapper, and there were two others. There was.
Okay.
I'm blanking on the.
No worries, no worries.
But but there were two others that we had to code, and it was basically just the program was the user will input some sort of plain text, and you just have to show that this is the plain text, this is you wrapping it, this is the output of the wrapper.
Right.
This is the output of the the cryptic
Got it,
test. Right.
got it, understood.
And that's basically it. It's just
Okay,
very.
that's right, that's right.
Yeah, we
and
have
you
1
have,
month.
you have talked about forensics as well, so dead forensics, data recovery. So what's dead forensics?
That, for instance, is basically when the box is not really running.
Right.
The box is basically just extracted like a VM, like just taken, and then you can, for instance, analyze it, maybe carve it to see
Right.
maybe some hacker came in,
Yeah.
created some sort of file to do
Okay.
some sort of job, and then just
Right.
delete the file.
Yeah.
So how would you solve that? So let's say if you take the environment off, just take a copy of it off, just extract it and maybe carve it, and then you can tell, okay, this file was deleted, and what was the code in this file, and maybe you can track what the hacker was up to, and then you can follow. That's basically my
Okay, fair enough.
forensic project.
You have also talked about NIST policies, implementing the development cycles.
Yeah, so this was another course, the IT policies course, basically just going through the industry day-to-day of what policies and procedures are expected in environments. This was an entire course.
Yeah,
Of all the things like how do you do physical security, how do you deal with people security, how do you deal with software security. There were policies on all of those,
Right.
and each day was a different thing. So yeah.
Our company here that we're in the hiring process for now, we have a big problem. Over the last couple of months now, our company has been hacked a couple of times. A couple of our web servers have been taken down. We go in, we restore backups, we bring the systems back up again, we think they're clean, and a few days later the hackers are back in again. So we have to clean everything out again. If we were to hire you on to come in and help us, what would you do to fix our problem for us?
Clearly, you haven't addressed the main problem, which is how the hacker got in. If you just back things up, you haven't really fixed anything. You just the hacker's going to come back in just the way they did again. So you have to first see what the hacker is doing, and maybe from their actions. If you try to be aggressive towards the hacker, he might just do something crazy and then just delete something, and then you have to go roll back again. You just need to find out how the hacker got in there. If you know how, you can stop that from happening, and once you stop that, then you can roll back and patch that thing, that he won't come back. So
Okay, but exactly how would we go about, once we knew the hacker had exploited XYZ vulnerability, how do we fix that? How would you fix that for us?
Well, to patch that vulnerability, so make sure of course you gotta look at every attack vector. to see where the hacker is coming from, and then just patch it. Try to minimize any risk to the company in that way. It's hard to go in and read. I need to have an actual example of the scenario. It's when it's too general. There's so many different ways.
Do you have any experience in vulnerability management?
No, unfortunately, I do not have any job experience per se. All my experience is academic experience. Even my capstone with IBM, it was just a research project, an academic research project. So, yeah.
Maybe we can talk a bit about your capstone project. So you mentioned what SOC attribution means in 2018.
Yeah, so a SOC is basically security operation centers. They just deal with attribution, basically fingerprinting and tagger. Who
Is
they are.
attribution and fingerprinting the same thing?
No, attribution, I believe, by definition, is what's the main motivation? Oh no, what's the main motivation of the person trying to do what they did? So it's like, why are they doing it? So that's what IBM attribution, what they meant. Of course, SOC teams, what they do is they fingerprint people and they create statistics. It's not a perfect science attribution. Right. It's like more of a social science. You can't really go into full detail, but the philosophy is basically, if you can find what kind of person this is, you can preemptively try to stop it. Just maybe dissuade them. And let's say they have this sort of pattern of behavior. They like to come into the network from. Basically, let's say they like to social engineer one of our employees and then make them click something, and that's their MO. But then let's say if we see this exact same MO done on some other company, we know that this could be them, or like a high percentage chance. So this is why fingerprinting is useful. Like something happens, we couldn't prevent it in time, but if we fingerprint this person or this action and put it into a database and something similar is happening, we can say, okay, this could be this person, and now we can predict what this person did last time, and then we can say, okay, this person's going to do this next, if this is that person. Right. So yeah, it has some uses.
So I see that you have a lot of technical experience, a lot of penetration testing experience, sort of as well. Just to touch upon like network penetration testing. So us, we have a lot of clients that come to us and say, I want you to pen test my network.
Okay.
So if you are given a network port and a computer with all sorts of tools that you need,
okay.
How would you begin the penetration testing process?
Maybe start with the tools.
Yeah, first.
How you load your testing laptop.
You can talk about the tools and then how you would use those tools.
Sure. First, I would just establish the scope, okay, of what we're trying to do, and I don't want to. Of course, I would receive some sort of a package of like IP or something that I can.
Yeah. Let's say they didn't give you an IP. They didn't give you an IP, but they give you a port. They give you a port, and they said, go at it.
Sure. I'll start by mapping the port.
Okay.
Try to see what else is there, what services are running.
So just to clarify, it's a physical port that they have given, so you're connecting on that port. Right?
Okay.
So you don't have a port yet on a server yet. So
right.
Nmap is not going to come in yet.
Oh, okay,
right?
okay, okay. Okay, so that's a little tricky. So I haven't really done it this way. This sort of.
That's alright. So say for example, okay, so you're in a client environment, you have the laptop, you plug in to the network port over here, right? And then what's your next step? If you don't receive the package of IPs, as you said,
right?
What's your next step?
I'll maybe like tell them or something, just try to search what IPs are connected to this network. Maybe talk to THCP, see what else is there. See, I would like to try to grab a list of all the other IPs that are on least.
Yeah.
Once I get that, then I know what devices are there. Maybe I can just communicate with each device to see if I have connectivity with them. If I don't, why not?
Yeah.
What this device does, I would like to. Then I can nmap, right? I can see what services are running on these machines and what information is available already to me at this time. Should I have this information? Should this be available on the internet? Maybe with the patch versions, maybe I would try to look up, okay, this patch, maybe have this one, maybe even try this one to see if I can get in that box. Right. And then maybe just move laterally. Maybe
would you use the one bit, like so for example, you did find, say for example, MS08067. Are you familiar with that? 08067?
067, no.
So it's config. Have you heard of configure?
Configure?
Configure. It's a worm that was out there in 2020.
Flickr, configure.
No, I have not heard of this specific worm.
No worries. So if you find an exploit, say XYZ exploit,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
How do you test that? So what's your step You communicate with the client. You tell them that you're. What's your step towards exploit?
Again, see, that's why the scope is really important. If I have, let's say, a week to test the environment, I would make a report, and at the end of the week, I will just play everything in my report. This was the vulnerability. This is how I hacked in. Then I moved laterally to this machine because I had access here. And then when I was behind the firewall, I could do all sorts of other things. I found this file on your network. I had a password that nobody cared to check about. This shouldn't be there. I leveraged that. I tried to call your secretary, try to get the number that, like a hiring manager number, maybe maybe look him up on Facebook or something, maybe try to get some information from me. I don't know. There's a lot of sort of recon that you can do, like active recon, passive recon. I would do all sorts of things.
A little bit out of scope because maybe social engineering is not part of it. But you said a good thing because you will define the scope, right? So maybe they will make
for us, pen testing,
maybe they will make that clear. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a part of it. Maybe sometimes companies want to see what.
And how do you give recommendations? Say, for example, as you said, like a password that you should not be using. What's your recommendation?
So for password, it's very easy. I think current research standards just want a long password, like a sentence. Don't really care much about like numbers or capital letters, small letters, or some sort of regex number. No, don't worry about that. Just like a sentence. A sentence is really hard to break that.
Yeah.
With the rainbows.
We're short on time, so we'll do one question. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. I see you have a lot of technical skills that you've put here. Out of all the skills that you've put here, what is your weakest skill?
Weakest skill?
No, you don't have any?
I have weakest skill. Oh God. I would say forensics because our IT forensics course, it was outdated.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it was like 7 years out of date, so I don't really know any of the new tools, IT forensics. Also, it was all dead forensics too. It wasn't even live Linux forensics, which is what we should be learning in class.
Any questions
Do you
for
have any
us?
questions for us?
No.
Come on, you got two key questions.
Two questions?
Two key questions you saw earlier.
What Rob Waters said in the
Oh,
presentation.
I'm so sorry.
Next step.
Yeah. What is the next step? Right. I totally forgot.
So I think the next step is, we will kind of regroup as a team together. We'll review your resume. Overall, I think it went well, and we will have someone from HR stay in touch. I'm sure you've already been in contact with someone from HR,
Right.
so that's the person to follow up with as well, and we'll get back to you within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Any other questions? Doesn't the one that he said? Anything?
You got the most key ones, so.
Yeah. I can't think of anything right now.
Cool.
Okay. I will email you if there's anything.
I think for questions, I think a really good question, like a lot of times, what I feel is good is the other person who's been working at the company has had a lot of experience working at the company. So why not ask them? You've been working here for 7 years, you've been working here for 10 years, 15 years. What has your experience been like working with the company?
What do you like best about working here?
Oh yeah.
Right? And so that's, just another question to kind of think of.
You give yourself time to think of new questions.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So again, before I go in, I would
it's like,
have
what is your typical day at work over here? And then you can think of what questions you can come up with in terms of more details as to what your job.
Yeah, that's
You
good.
should have been part of the panel too.
That's good. So if I ask what is your typical day of work, and then I can that answer I can just keep questioning.
drive more questions.
You nod
All right, let's give them a round of applause.
You know how I first asked you about like walking me through your resume, right? So one of the key things is don't read your resume. You know what I mean?
I think it's louder.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, guys. So what I'm saying is, when we started conversing about it. So again, don't take this as like negative. This is the reason we are doing this, right? As you go and do more interviews, you kind of pick on these things. So one thing is when you have a resume in front of you, we already reading it. So don't read through it, right? So don't look into a resume. You should know what's already in there. You should know what experience you already have. Again, this is not a lot of experience, but you can always talk about it, but not read like lines, right? So that's one. Second, again, this very small thing. It's nothing to be kind of afraid about. So second is when you're kind of answering questions. I think at the very start you're a bit nervous, right? So you're rubbing your hands.
Yeah.
You do that when you're nervous. That's absolutely fine. But perhaps don't give out that kind of body language at the very start, right? So if you're getting nervous, just take some time, recalibrate, get at it again, right?
Deep breath.
Deep breaths, extremely important, right? So don't fidget your hand like this, don't do like this, right? So be in one position, just be confident while you're answering the question, right? Your body language kind of speaks a lot to the hiring managers as well, especially, again, I say that, when I come from consulting background, so we look for people who can go and talk to the clients, right? So don't give out those kind of signals at the start. And I guess the last point from mine, again, very small point. So when we talked about AES, RSA, when we talked about the Python library, right? So make sure that you know what it's in the resume, right? It's okay if you don't remember it, but make sure you remember the basic things, right? So for example, PyCrypto, right? So that's one of the libraries that you use for Python and crypto, right? So make sure that whatever you have written, maybe half an hour, 1 hour before the interview, just go through it, right? Just to do a refresh, make some notes, right? It's okay to have notes with it. Don't read from the notes, but have the notes as read reference on your side. So you can present your resume, you can have your notes, you can just refer to your notes from time to time.
So just a couple things from my side. I think you could just be a little bit more clear and to the point, and maybe speak a little bit less, right? I know when we start to want to give information, we want to talk about everything, we want to explain every single angle and all, right? But if your responses kind of become a little bit longer, the interview itself will, first of all, like mentioned, very little time, right? And kind of start to get bored as well, right? So some to the point sort of questions, and then another one was, when I asked about the weakness, you were started trying to pick which one would be a good weakness to have, right? Just be more confident, and we generally also know our weaknesses, right? Like, are we deciding which weakness am I gonna say? Do I have a lot of weaknesses? And if you do think there's more than one, it's okay to say that as well. But just being a little bit more to the point, and just making eye contact with, if there's 3 people, just with everybody, everyone wants to hear a response.
And I still have the problem, like spitting out more ideas at once. I still have the problem. So when I talk, he knows very well, like, I tend to speak very fast at times.
I have to kind of go like this to him sometimes.
Exactly. Like speak slowly. And I give out a lot of ideas at once. It's okay to have that, right? At the start, you always have that kind of an issue, right? But have more control. Practice this before, like, have more control on what you are basically saying, right?
Yeah, and a little bit just against, I think there were a couple times where you said, well, I don't know if there's a lot of options, right? Maybe you can say that in a better way, like, when I realize the scenario, as I vary my options, I will start to take different paths, right? Instead of saying, I don't know, there's a lot of options, right? So
also
it's
take
just a different
examples,
way of
right?
working.
Say, for example, if this is what this were the case, maybe it's not like what you're describing, maybe this is the case, then I would do it this way.
Don't ask for a scenario, give a scenario.
You can, yeah, exactly. I think that shows that you already know many different ways, and you've picked your one path. And that gives you the opportunity to actually pick a more clear path that you're comfortable with.
Because sometimes the interview will go off the rails, right? The interviewers will go into the weeds somewhere, right? You have the initiative to put things back onto the rail again by taking a more positive direction as to answering the questions. This would be one way of answering your question, A, B, C, D, or whatever. It allows you to take more control over the interview too.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Hopefully get some value from there.